we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are...
Good morning, lovies. So I keep starting my little videos here in early. Ooh, my hands are shaking pretty bad. So if it's shaking, I apologize. But anyways, I keep starting my little videos out here in the morning because good morning. It's a brand new day, praise God. And this is where I sit in the mornings to I worship and I journal right here in this little space. So this is like my little safe space in the morning. So I wanted just to start this off this morning because I'm going to be getting back into doing lots of cleaning videos. I just need some time to, get back into that. The weather is really, really nice, and I am in the process of working through leaving my house and doing things. This is the process that I'm in right now, and trying to change up some of my routines so that I don't get stuck in a routine. That's, talking with my therapist and things like that. That's something very important. Sometimes, the routine is the killer of joy, number one. And number two, routine also can inflict, your brain is like a big computer. So it's like when it does the same things over and over again, if you're doing the same things over and over again in a space and time where you have anxiety in that space and time over and over and over again, it's like it just becomes the norm kind of thing. So I'm trying to do some little things different. So I'm just asking all of my lovies out there. Yes, I know most of you, well, not all of you, but most of you are here because you want cleaning motivation and stuff. And I promise that I'm going to be including stuff like that in every video. But I just want you to know that for a time here, I have a feeling it's a very short time. If you'll just bear with me, I'm going to be doing just a little bit different things in the videos to just add some things in there. Like for instance, today's video, I'm starting it out here in the morning with you guys. And I'm probably going to take you along with me today. So it's kind of like a little bit of a vlog, but I'm going to be cleaning my kitchen. You can hear I got my laundry going. I need to fold laundry. I'm going to be making zuppa, and I made it before on this channel, but I didn't show everything. I just kind of threw it all together. And I had many people ask me like, what is the steps, the recipe for that? And zuppa toscana. It's like a copycat from Olive Garden. So I thought I would do step by step with you guys making the zuppa toscana. We just call it zuppa here. And I need to take a walk today because I talked about this before. I feel like walking is really going to help me. I'm already seeing big improvements in the things that I'm doing. So just to be honest, because I've been honest with you guys from the beginning, I know my channel kind of has a cleaning niche to it, and I'm not deferring from that. You're going to see cleaning in my videos. It's just I think for a short period of time, my whole video is not going to be about cleaning. So, but some of you guys really, really like that. You like seeing cleaning and some personal stuff too. So today's video probably will have cooking, cleaning, laundry, and I probably will take you with me just for a little bit because I'm going to the park where it's absolutely gorgeous to walk. So I might show you some of that. And then we have a fun surprise today. Also, I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I'm like, I hope I could do it. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm originally from New Jersey. For all my new lovies out there, I have new subscribers every day. So hello, welcome, welcome. I'm originally from New Jersey, from the Jersey Shore. And so I grew up with Jersey Mike subs. Now being here from southwestern Pennsylvania, the only kind of sub you can get around here is from like Subway. And that just doesn't compare. Not that there's anything wrong with Subway. I'm not knocking it or anything, but it's not a Jersey sub. And we've been here for quite some time, and all these years we've been here, we always said, man, if we had money, we would buy a franchise of Jersey Mike's because I think they would do really well here. Well, finally, somebody got on board and did it. So the Jersey Mike's opened up about a half an hour from here. So for me, that is going to be a big deal because I've been going places. I've been making myself leave my house every day because that's something that anxiety can do to you. It can shrink your world and make you feel like you have to stay like in your safe place. And even though I may get a little nervous when I initially go to the door, when I get where I'm going to do what I'm doing, I feel 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. So this is what I'm talking about. This is why my cleaning has kind of taken a little bit. I mean, I have to maintain my home. I'm just not doing deep cleaning. But this is where my priority lies, is I'm trying to get myself to a place where I'm doing normal things. I'm not staying in this routine of safe place kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because that's what anxiety does. It shrinks your world because, well, if I stay in the living room and I got my worship music on and I can journal, and if I need to act weird and do all of my grounding techniques with breathing and, I'm learning all about this tapping stuff in therapy and all this stuff, what you would think was weird stuff, but works through anxiety. I can do that safely in my house because it's my safe place without looking weird and stuff like that. It shrinks your world. So I'm making myself do things. My mom is my best friend, my partner in all of this. I'd be lost without her. I praise God for her and my daughter. They're always by my side, and I am really, really working through some things. So to go take a walk, to drive almost a half an hour from my safe place home. With my stomach, I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to eat a lot of sub, but even if I could just get 2 bites, just a little bit of that taste, I think that will just make my day. And then I'll bring the rest home for my husband for dinner. So then I don't have to cook. I can eat the soup. So, because I can eat soup. Soup sits with me very well. I can eat like a half a bowl of soup. Like, for instance, I'm trying to eat some oatmeal in the morning instead of drinking these protein drinks all the time. And this was a half a cup of oatmeal and like 10 blueberries, and that's all I can do. I can't do more than that. So sorry, I got interrupted there. My daughter came out. So I don't know what I was talking about. But anyways, I can't eat a lot. It's not that I can't eat. I got to quit saying that. It's just where I'm at right now. As a matter of fact, when I was at the doctor's, I think it was Monday or whatever. I forget what day, doing what. But anyways, I was weighed and all that stuff. I'm down a little over 52 pounds. So 52 pounds since February. Late February. 52 pounds I'm down. So that's a good, I don't like the way it's about. I don't like that I'm going through all of this, and that's whatever. I don't even know what's going on, but with my stomach and all that stuff, I think that's going to be the next testings I'm going to have to find out what's going on with my gut. But that's not today. So today we're focused on what we're doing today. And that's another thing that I'm really, really, really doing a lot of, is just focusing on in the moment, right now, and what I'm doing today. I don't need to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. And when tomorrow comes, I'll worry about what I got to do tomorrow. But today, this is what I got to do. So I just want to encourage people out there with that are going through things. I say this a lot because my heart really, really is pulled this way. And I've already made up my mind that when I am completely delivered of anxiety and I am free of all of these things, and I know that I'm getting to that place, I can actually feel like I feel big changes in me and things like that. And I'm learning so much. And I am so humbled by what just I'm going through. I know that I'm going to be writing a book. There's going to be a new book in my future. And I'm excited about that. But we got to get through it. You got to get through the test to have a testimony. You got to go through a storm to have a rainbow. You got to go through the things, you got to go up through that valley of the shadow of death sometimes. But what I love about that is, for me, is if, I just remember that scripture about, it's in Song of Solomon, and she comes out, leaning on her beloved, and that's exactly, I might have to go through this valley, but when I come out on the other side, I'll be leaning on my beloved, who is Jesus Christ, and I will be a different person. And when that happens, I think there's going to be a new book in my future. So, anyways, I don't want to go on and on and on and on. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'm doing cleaning, but I just don't feel like, I don't think it's going to be a very long time. So if you'll just bear with me, this is priority for me right now. So priority for me right now is overcoming all of this. And these are all the steps that I have to take. Making myself leave my space, my safe place, spending the time that I need in worship and journaling and prayer. Counseling takes up a lot of my time now. That's something I didn't have before that takes up my time. Just doing some things that I don't normally do. So in all of that, cleaning kind of has become like on the back burner to a point, because you can't let your place get crazy nasty, right? So the little bit that I do in a day, I'm going to be sharing with you guys, and other things, just like other things. So I'm not going to shut up now, because here we go with my 10-minute intros. But you guys seem to love my 10-minute intros. You guys seem to love me talking. And, the channel, I really want to please, I want to make you guys happy too. But I really, really want to be an encouragement, because so many people have come to my channel that are really dealing with serious things. I get so many messages in a day about people with anxiety, people with pain, people with depression, and they're desperate. And oh, do I understand your desperation. There is hope. There is hope. And I think that is really, in my forefronts of my mind, is so much more important than a spick and span house. Not that there's anything wrong with a spick and span house, because who doesn't love a smell good spick and span house? I do. I really do. That's why I have a cleaning channel. But this is kind of like a new development in my life, and I really got to nurture it, and I really got to do what I got to do so that I can get back to whatever God has for me to do. So I'm really going to go now so we can get this video going. But I just wanted to check in with you guys and just kind of give you a heads up. I don't foresee this being like forever. Just maybe for a couple videos here, just till I get it back into the groove of things. I really need to focus on me. And sometimes focusing on you is so much more important than having a perfect home. It really is. And I'm a firm believer in, if you do your absolute best, it's enough. It's enough. And you are enough. And yeah, I think I said everything I had to say. I wish I could say that kind of stuff in much shorter of a time, but it's just like not in me to. I guess I'm a woman of many words, not a woman of few words. All right, guys, I love you. It's a brand new day, and I don't know when you're watching this, but just know that you're loved, and it's a brand new day, and you can face every day with hope. So my little helper is going to empty the dishwasher and get it loaded up and get the kitchen cleaned up a little bit while I work on some other things. And I praise God for helpers. And even my dishwasher, the machine itself, is a helper. Because then you don't have to stand over the sink and wash all those dishes by hand. So I give praise for helpers. Today, gonna be doing a little bit of walking. We gotta start somewhere. So I thought I'd take you with me and show you the beautiful scenery where I'll be walking today. Down by the lake. Fishermen. It's beautiful. Mom's with me. Say hi, Mom. Hello. We're gonna walk a little bit today. Burn off some of this anxiousness. Give God thanks for the beautiful day He's given us.
Hey, Mama.
What?
Want to record me and see how far I can get to that tree from here?
You want to run? Ready? On your mark. Get set. Go. Five 5.4 seconds. Come on, you can do it. Woohoo! You did it! She's just dying to go stick her feet in that water. Is it cold?
Cold.
You see fishies?
I'm not far out to see fishies. But it's definitely cold.
Don't go out too far, Toots.
Finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no more. Oh, even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon, side by side and through, no limit to what we can do.
Oh, look at the blue jay.
Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
Okay, lovies, so we're going to get started making the zuppa toscana. So I have a half a pound of Italian sausage, ground sausage. If you're making a lot, you know, I am feeding a family of 4, but with my little bit of a stomach issues, I don't want a ton of meat in my zuppa. So if you're making it for a large family, I would use a whole pound of ground sausage. It just happens that because of some of the things that I'm dealing with, and I'm primarily just me, I'm the one who eats the zuppa, though my kids do love it. I'm only going to use a half a pound of ground sausage, and that is your base. Now, the regular recipe for this, if I wasn't having stomach issues, I would add a half or whole, depending on the size, of a yellow onion in with the sausage. But because of the stomach issues that I'm dealing with, I have to avoid onions at all costs. But if you love onions, I would go ahead and put an onion in with your sausage for your base of soup. So while your meat is browning, you can start cutting up your potatoes. Depending on how many people you're feeding, you can have anywhere between 4 to 8 potatoes, even depending on the size of the potatoes. I recommend, if you are having any stomach troubles or you have any kind of sensitivity, red potatoes seem to be very easy on the palate and on your gut. So I'm using red potatoes, but of course any potato works, russets, whatever you have on hand. I just really prefer the red potato. It really makes a difference. And also the potato is a little bit more creamier. For whatever reason, red potatoes seem to be a lot more creamier than russets. So there's just my preference. I think I'm going to be using about 5 or 6 potatoes here because my goal is to make soup for a couple days, not just for one day. Like, I will eat this for the lunch the next day. Sometimes I'll have it twice in a day, just depending. So I'm making a larger batch And I slice my potatoes because that's how Olive Garden does it. I don't know if you've ever had the zuppa toscana from the Olive Garden, but when they give it to you, the potatoes are kind of round and they always leave the skin on them. If you prefer, chunk your potatoes. It's your soup. You can do however you want. I just try to make it as close as I can to the Olive Garden, and we like it this way with the skins on and big rounds, because I'm telling you guys, by the time the soup cooks in its entirety, the potato breaks down a little bit and they're not that big. They break up in the broth and stuff like that. So you don't have these big, huge rounds of potato in your soup by the end of it. They do break up. And they they cook a lot quicker because they are that thin. They're thin rounds. So if you want soup within like a half an hour, 40 minutes, this is the best way to cut your potatoes because they cook super quick. Now that your meat is brown, I'm going to be adding, I guess that's a quart of chicken broth. I use chicken broth or chicken stock, whatever you have on hand, over beef. I think it gives it a much, much better flavor. That's my preference, and I believe that's how Olive Garden makes it as well. I'm going to be adding more. What I do is I put 1 quart in, or 1 container, and then I add all of my potatoes in, and then I add my second, and I just fill it until it covers the potatoes. So if I don't use the whole quart, that's okay, because the kind I buy always has the screw lid, and I can just put it in the fridge for another time, or I can add it if, later if the potatoes suck up a lot of the broth. But when I get all of the potatoes in, I will add more broth, but only to cover the potatoes, because I don't want to add too much chicken broth and make the pot really, really full, because after the potatoes cook, we're going to be adding heavy whipping cream as well. So I always want a nice balance of broth and potatoes. So that's why I do it this. 1 quart, put all the potatoes in, and then I'll add the second one and only top it off to the top of the potatoes and save the rest for another meal, or if I need it later because the potatoes suck up all the broth. That's just how I do it. It works out every time, and everybody loves it and thinks it's delicious. Okay, so now I think I have enough broth. See how it just barely covers the potatoes. Now I'm going to start adding in the seasoning, which of course is going to be, I think this is pepper. I'm going to be adding salt. I add Italian seasoning, I add garlic powder, and then I add onion powder. Now, if you put fresh onions in your soup when you were cooking the meat, then you may not want to add the onion powder, but the onion powder, in my personal opinion, does flavor the broth very nicely and gives it that all day kind of cooked, taste to it. And that's how I get a little bit of that onion flavor in it. If you're having some problems with your stomach like I am, it's a great way to kind of add that all day flavor with some onion in it without actually having onions in your soup. And a real big key to all this soup and how delicious it is you've really got to add the Italian seasoning. The Italian seasoning just brings it all together, and it really makes it very flavorful and yummy at the end. So the seasonings are really important, and I always add them when the potatoes are about to boil, because then the potatoes absorb all of that seasoning and flavor, and then it feels like all the layers of the soup are flavored, if that makes any sense, or if I'm just rambling. But I'm telling you, if you want a nice, warm, hearty soup that's very comforting and super easy to make, this is it. It is so delicious. The ingredients are so simple, and it's a really good, feel-good bowl of soup. I'm telling you, it's so yummy. Okay guys, so the soup has boiled about 25 minutes to a half an hour. The potatoes are super tender. You just stir them and they're breaking up in the broth. That's what I mean. Those rounds will break up. Now, the zuppa that is served in Olive Garden is served with kale. which I love. Kale is absolutely delicious, but if you are having some stomach issues, kale is a little bit harder to digest than spinach. So for my sake, I want the green. I need the greens. I'm using baby spinach because it's just easier on my gut. But if you want to make it the traditional way, then you just do a couple hands of fresh kale or frozen kale, whatever you have on hand. I always find fresh greens much better. I put about a big pat, as you can see. I don't have an exact measurement, but just a big pat of butter that makes the broth very creamy and glossy. And then I add a heaping tablespoon of garlic. Garlic is wonderful. It really flavors the soup. It's just very good. It pulls all the Italian flavors together, if you will. And then I use one whole thing of heavy whipping cream. If you're trying to watch your figure or anything like that, you can probably get away with half and half, or use heavy whipping cream, but only use half of the container. I don't use a large one. I use one of the small ones, but oh man, it makes a big difference. And then from here, you can taste your soup, and because you added more layers, you might need to add a little bit more salt and pepper, but I don't. I leave it just like this, and whoever gets a bowl of soup, if it needs extra salt and pepper, they can add it on their own. I'm trying to avoid a ton of salt, so this is perfect for me. And then when I serve this up, I serve it alongside with some Parmesan cheese. And the parm is salty, so that's kind of where we go from there. So you can top this with some Parmesan cheese, and if you're serving it for like a family or for like a brunch, oh my goodness, you get yourself a baguette of like a really nice crusty bread or some sourdough or something like this, and it is a hearty dinner, and it is delicious. Hi guys, you're like, oh Missy, I already seen you in your pajamas, and that was at the beginning of the video. Well, this is the next day, because I'm editing. So I am literally editing the video. I can turn it around. I am editing this video. I just got done showing you the whole Zuppa stuff. And before I add this very last clip to end this video, which is going to be a longer one, I've had some requests for longer videos, so I'm trying to appease you guys. I'm up early this morning trying to get this video out, so it'll be out at a decent time on Friday. The very last clip of this video that you're getting ready to see is us going to Jersey Mike's. And this video here that I'm showing you guys, you might see me in like 2 different tops. It was filmed over 2 days. So I don't remember the sequence of everything, but I just wanted to let you guys know, after my big conversation that I had at the beginning of this video, that when I got in the car to leave to go to Jersey Mike's, I was having, just, we're going to be honest with you, I was having anxiety because of some of the things that I'm dealing with physically, some of the symptoms that anxiety causes, and then it brings on discomfort and just things of that nature. So I want to be completely honest with you guys. I don't want you guys to watch my videos and think that, you know, because I know many people are watching me right now that are dealing with the same things that I'm dealing with, because they're looking for encouragement and they want hope. So I want to tell you guys that the footage of you watching me going to the park and walking and doing all of that, I was perfectly fine. I didn't have any anxiety. I didn't need to take anything to go to the park. I had a great day. We did things after the park. I walked. I had a wonderful, wonderful day. And then the day of that morning of the beginning of the video that you saw, and then later that day we were headed to Jersey Mike's, I did have I don't know if it's an anxiety attack or if they consider those panic attacks, where it peaks and then you are not okay for like 20-25 minutes. Yeah, I had one of those, and I want to be completely honest and let you guys know that while you're trying to get better, while you're trying to move ahead and do what you need to do, which is what all the things that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, coming out of my safe place, pushing myself to go places and do things, and not allowing anxiety to rule my life and shrink my world, it doesn't mean that you won't have setbacks once in a while. But the footage that I'm going to show you proves that even though, and I'm going to be honest with you, this is exactly how it went. My mom pulled in the driveway. She beeped the horn. I got in the car and she started to back out, and I told her she had to pull right back in. And I said, Mom, I don't know. Because it builds and builds and builds. And then that's when you need to start doing all of like the techniques and things, grounding techniques, if you know, tapping, deep breathing, all of the exercises that they tell you to do while you're having anxiety. We sat in the car for about 5 minutes, and I told her, I was like, Mom, I just don't know. I'm having, like, I think we need to go in for a little bit. I think we need to go in. And she did. She came in with me. We began to pray through this. She began to talk to me. And then I had, if you want to call it a panic attack, or if you want to call it a full-blown anxiety attack, whatever you want to call it, where it peaks. It gets all the way to the top. If you want to put it in numbers, like I reached the 10. And I had to, she had to walk me through it. Missy, start counting backwards from 40. And then she had me, naming all the things in my living room and picking out colors, and because you're trying to ground yourself with your senses. So if you're ever in a panic attack or an anxiety attack, I don't really know the difference between the two, but just where it gets to that peak level and you feel like you're going to lose all control, one of the techniques they teach you is you start counting back from 20, breathing, and then like pick a color. Find every object in the room that you're sitting in that is the color black, or find every single object in the room that you're sitting in that's green. Name them out loud, point to them, whatever it takes. And then that starts bringing you down, because you're grounding, and you're grounded where you are. And then you're telling your body that you're safe and you're back in reality. You're not in this different place in your mind. It's making your mind focus on other things than the panic or whatever's going on in your brain. And then, because we are spiritual people and we believe in a God who is very real, we pray through all of this, and we ask God to, flood my body with peace, and to come, and, because we believe that he is the Prince of Peace. And my personal belief is that, when you become born again, Jesus comes and lives on the inside of you. And if he's on the inside of me and he's the Prince of Peace, then anxiety and that total opposite change of who he is on the inside of me can't be. So we start calling those things. We start saying those things. I start saying those things. I start saying all of my things like, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And before you know it, it comes all the way down. And, I cry, the whole thing. It's a whole ordeal. So if you are dealing with anxiety, if you are dealing with panic, if you are dealing with any of those things, yes, there is hope. Yes, you can work all of these things: journaling, art therapy itself, learning techniques, branching out, doing all the things that you're doing, keeping in a positive mind space, the whole thing. But it doesn't mean that you won't have a day or two out of your week, or even more, where you might have a setback. And just because you have a little bit of a setback doesn't mean that you can't triumph still that day. It still doesn't mean that you can't have a good day. So I don't want to make this super long, because I know my intro was long, and this video is longer, and many of you like my longer videos. So while I was editing this, I didn't want to stick this last little piece in here of me going to Jersey Mike's without letting you know that I had a battle before I got in the car and actually went. But I had the anxiety panic attack. We had to sit in the house for almost an hour. It took I peaked, had to go through all of that, deep breathing, go through all of my techniques, come down from that, do what I needed to do. Thank God my mom was here. I just thank you, Mom, if you're watching this. Thank you. That's another big part of this. Make sure you have somebody who understands and will be your support, and that'll go through some tough things with you. And within an hour, I was okay. I did a couple more breathing techniques, and I'm like, all right, we're getting in this car. And when I really think about what I was really nervous about, because I'm having a little bit of discomfort in my chest, the anxiety, this is the thing. Either my gut's bringing on some discomfort up here, or anxiety is bringing some discomfort, but it also was that I was going to be far away from my safe place, like I talked about in the beginning of this video. So whatever brought it on, I think I was dealing with both. I still did it. It took an hour. It took an hour. It took an hour from the time I first got in the car to the second time I got in the car. There was like an hour span in between that. But I got in the car. Oop. Sorry, guys. It's going to make me cry. I got in the car. I drove that hour. It was over half an hour to get there. And I went in. I was able to eat a little bit of the sub. I sat amongst people. I had a good time with my mom and my daughter. I was present. We drove back. We stopped and did some things on the way back. I did it. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I may have had a little teeny tiny setback. And I could have let that happen and then go, okay, I can't do this. I can't do this. Look what it made me do. I can't do this. I can't do this. No, I had the setback, breathed through it, and went, this is not going to keep me here. I'm not going to stay in this. And we went. So, I know I keep moving the camera everywhere because I don't have my stand or anything. I literally stopped editing this just to share this with you. And it's another 10 minutes. So, I want to be honest with you because I know so many people are going through the same thing I'm going through. And I want to be honest with you that even though you may be working through things, it doesn't mean that there won't be a setback here and there, but just embrace it, because that's what I did. Because that's one of the things I'm learning in therapy. So even while it was peaking and I was having the attack or whatever you want to call it, I kept saying, okay, anxiety, I acknowledge you. I see that you're here, but we're going to do this. And breathing, I cried, the whole thing. I got through it. I got calm. And then I did it. I did it, guys. I did it. I got in the car and I went and had a beautiful day. And I had a wonderful day the whole rest of the day. I even slept well. And here I am the next morning. I'm still okay. No anxiety. I'm okay. I'm editing this video. I'm talking to you guys. And I plan on having a beautiful day today too. So I just want to throw this in there. And I know it's another long, me-winded talking kind of thing. If you're still here, thank you for watching my whole video. If you are still here, put a heart emoji down in the bottom of in the comments. I would really appreciate that. I just really, really felt like it was super important for me to come on here and tell you that I didn't just jump in the car and go to Jersey Mike's unfazed. I wanted you to know that I did have a setback, but I still overcame it after the setback. And you can too. You can do this. I believe in you. And if you believe in God, He believes in you more than you will ever know. And He loves you so, so much. And I just want to encourage you. Don't let your setbacks set you back even further. Go through it. Do what you need to do to get through it. And then keep moving forward. Because every time you move forward, every time you look at this thing in the face, see anxiety and fear and anxiousness as a physical thing. Look at it and go, you're not going to keep me from living my life. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do this. And I'm going to defeat you. And just keep moving forward. So, I love you guys. I love you with all my heart. And I wish nothing but the best for all of you. And I'm going to end this. It's just a few quick little clips of us at Jersey Mike's. So this is the end of the video. I will see you soon in a new one. And just know that you are greatly loved. You are important. Your life matters. You do have purpose. There is good things ahead of you. These are the things that you just keep pondering on. You keep in the forefronts of your mind. And just know that you always have a friend in me. No matter what you're going through, no matter what your life looks like, no matter what's happening in the moment, dirty hair, unmade bed, life not perfect at all, the farthest thing from it, you can still have a big smile on your face. And you have a friend in me, and you're not alone. And if you know Jesus, you're never alone. So I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And my plan is to film a whole bunch of things over the weekend. So I have some great footage for the following week of cleaning things, because man, my house really does need cleaned. That is my plan. But I also want to stick in here. You know, sometimes you make plans like that and things come up, setbacks, whatever it may be. And if it doesn't get done, give yourself grace. Don't be like, oh my God, I'm horrible. I didn't do it. I wanted to do this and I didn't do that. No wonder why you're full of anxiety. Don't do that to yourself. If that's your intentions and you want to do it, I hope that you can do it. Just like I hope this weekend I get a whole bunch of stuff done, great footage, and you'll have a fantastic cleaning video on Monday. But if it doesn't happen, it's okay too. It's okay too, and I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on myself because I'm doing my absolute best. Okay, guys, I love you. As always, whether you live in a mobile home or a mansion, just be thankful for whatever God has given you, and thank God for the life that He's given you, and thank God for the day that He's given you, because it can be a really good day. It's a good day for me because you all are in it. I love you guys. God bless, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.